Well, we start off from the Ashanti region. The Ghana Police Service says it has commenced investigations into circumstances leading to clashes between protesting students of Islamic SHS in the Kumasi area and personnel of the Ghana Police Service. Now, at least 20 students, as we understand, are currently on admission, receiving some treatment from medical experts. And in a statement issued by the Ghana Police Service as well a couple of hours ago on the matter, the police service has revealed that some of its personnel have also been hospitalized after today's clashes. Would obviously bring you excerpts of that statement as you have it on the screens right now, indicating that on Monday, June 13, some students of the Islamic Senior High School at Breport, Kumasi in the Ashanti region took to the streets and blocked the road to allegedly protest against frequent accidents in front of their school. Now, the police managed actually to disperse the rioting students, and calm, as we understand, has since been restored. Now, some students and some police officers have actually been taken to the hospital for medical attention. And the Inspector General of Police, as we understand, is proceeding to Kumasi for a first-hand assessment of the situation. The police, as we understand, have commenced investigations into the incident, and further developments will definitely be communicated. So these are excerpts of the statement that we're getting from the Ghana Police Service on this matter. In fact, just earlier, you saw the gunshots that actually were flying on campus. But for those of you who missed it, here are excerpts of the police attempting to disperse the crowd. We'll hear from some experts shortly, but please watch this video. How it all started, but let's hear now from Dr. Adam Bona, a security expert who's also been tracking this development. Very shortly, we'll be taking you live to the Ashanti region, where the Inspector General of Police, as we understand, has touched down there with some other members of government as well, monitoring the matter. The Education Ministry, as we understand, has also deployed a team there. We'll get you all the latest reactions. But first, let me bring you in, Dr. Bona, on the latest that we're seeing. In fact, Nkranza was very recently in the news for a similar situation. Now we're having to deal with students, and it appears that the police is not learning lessons. Am I getting anything wrong here?
Good afternoon, Blessed, and your viewers. It might look like that. It might look like some divisional commanders and district commanders and what have you are not learning lessons at all. If you look at these children in Islamic secondary school, some of them probably 14, 15, or probably even 13. And I'm seeing images of, spent shells from, what do you call that, live ammo, ammunition. It tells you that their own SOPs, the standard operating procedures or protocols probably were not followed. Because even for adults, you don't fire live bullets, and some of us have been speaking about it. So it is despicable. Anyone who commandeered the armed police officers, knowing very well that this is just children, you commandeer a team of, call them fathers and mothers, to go and shoot at your children. I mean, these are fathers and mothers within the Ghana Police Service, armed with live ammunition, who went into the area because students are demonstrating. Even if they did not inform the police that they were going to demonstrate, the least the police could do was to calmly shepherd them back into their campus. But to find live ammo, tear gas canisters into the young people. I mean, if you've ever inhaled tear gas, back those days when some of us were student leaders, inhaling tear gas was, an everyday affair where you will demonstrate, and Kofi Boache and his people, COP Kofi Boache today and his people will fire tear gas at you. And even that we were much older, even that your lungs will not be able to accommodate the pain, excruciating pain that you go through. So, talk about these kids.
So first of all, you're not surprised. You're not surprised that at least 20 students, as we understand, have been hospitalized as a result of the clashes with the police.
No, I'm not surprised because I have experienced tear gas not once, not twice, severally. And, because then it used to be, back those days, Rollins has just taken, you have to demonstrate, and as students, even at the tertiary level, when you are much older, they throw tear gas at you. It was an everyday affair. And even that one, the pain you go through when you inhale. And so to throw tear gas at these kids, call them our children and fire a live bullet into some of them and some of them getting hospitalized. It's despicable, to say the least.
And that brings to the fore the issue about the standard operating procedures. It's come up very often, except that we're not too sure what the SOP says about the discharge of live bullets. Are you able to give us a sense of what the procedure is?
Well, the procedure is we only discharge, discharge live ammo. When lethal, ammo, when your life comes under threat, when probably they are firing back at you, you've been cornered, and they want to butcher you, something like that, then the right to defend yourself using appropriate measure to defend yourself is standard. But where these are called defenseless kids, who, even if they were pelting stones, how far can these kids throw stones? How far can it go? These are probably some kids who have not really even been fed properly in the school, and so they don't even have the energy to throw any proper stone. And you go in there as fathers and mothers in the Ghana Police Service, and you fire at them. I understand. I understand the IGP is in the region, and knowing who he is as a no-nonsense IGP, he will descend heavily on those who took this dastardly action and make sure that the right things are done.
In fact, we'll be taking you live shortly to Kumasi, where we understand that the IGP is engaging some persons on campus and also around town. We'll take that shortly, but then there's the issue also about being fair to the Ghana Police Service, particularly when they are revealing their statement now that some of their men have been injured and are also receiving treatment in the hospital. So it appears that some form of extreme force was supposed to have been taken, per what you're telling us in terms of the SOPs, the standard operating procedures.
Well, we need to know if indeed some of their men are injured. Let's know, where are they? Which hospital are they? I would be interested to know. But I think that this is completely wrong. Somebody must be punished. I just think that whoever commandeered, it looks like they were not well prepared. And as a unit within the Ashanti region, I believe that your state of preparedness should be 24/7. You don't say, I need to pick intel, that there's going to be demonstration before you prepare. Your level of preparedness, would show when these things happen. We saw what happened in what's the name? Medina. This is not so different from Medina. The Medina incident, it was spontaneous, where a young girl had been hit. A young girl who was a student at West African Senior High School, had been knocked down. She lost her life. And the people there were spontaneous. It was an insurrection. They started burning ties, blocked the road. The police went in there. I don't remember if there were injuries.
Okay, now the IGP has the opportunity of a first-hand information on this. What's your expectation from him, briefly?
Well, my expectations from him is to be very firm and decisive on his own men, because then I think that this was completely wrong. These are defenseless kids who had a reason to demonstrate. So to fire live ammo into them, lethal ammo into them, and disperse them, throwing tear gas canisters when they could have shepherded them into their space. You saw what happened in Wa recently. The Upper West Regional Commander, even when the regional police command came under attack, he was able to stand his ground and ensure that there were no injuries, nobody went to the hospital, people were arrested and later sent to court, and they were granted court bail. But there were no injuries. And these are adults who are demonstrating in Wa. Can you compare what happened in Wa, attack on the regional police command, and then a demonstration by young kids, children, in front of their school? I lived in Kumasi, around the Abreport area, so I know the place very well. I mean, and they get this type of injuries and some of them hospitalized, tells you that someone acted wrongly, someone gave the instructions, wrongly. The SOPs were not followed, if you ask me. And so I think that now that the IGP is good, let me congratulate him. It's good that he's almost within some hours, he's already landed in Kumasi and is dealing with the issue. Means that I'm expecting him to be very firm and decisive on his men. Because for me, yes, the children, let's demonstrate responsibly. But when you look at it, and also probably the headmaster, I think the headmaster should be dealt with by GES, because what was his actions when some teachers were knocked down, some school kids were knocked down. I think everybody would have to take responsibility. The police vis-a-vis what do you call it, the administrators of the school. But as for the children, you cannot blame them.
Okay.
You can't blame them, no.
Dr. Bona, I'm grateful. Thank you for joining us. Well, the situation as we speak has left the atmosphere tense on the school campus, with some parents also thronging the campus to check on their wards. My colleague, Ohimi Interior, has been speaking to some of them, and here's what we found out.
School for no, police for Madam, I say, police for her and Kranwa inside, but on one quiet room, one Sharifa and one Hamza. It's me, man, I'm a mesha warmo. No cranny, me buy and me quite room. Me quite cranny, Pima, as an unconscious, no, did the form of a pray. And I miss you, Papa. And ambulance, they pick up near Sawarmo and your moko. It's in a Michinia, Namihumutu, and a car one. And my minimum with dear Makuma Tom Yamka, but me about time. Me one more for 1 day. Brown Ukraine, we are about time, but two crown from our rubber hope. Yan, my time, fine. Mima Humi dear Makuma Tommy Yam. And see, Omo Mujina, my tiny swa, Omu dear no, and your casa, Ajia, sister, Wabano, who Bana, a beer, Yankosha Hospital, so Kahua, na parent, Nakuma Tony Yam. Timawana, Mobisa Frame, Mrs. Sister Frame, Samisha TV, so I'm Simi Wojum. No, send a mecam, a woman's continued, and I bound some of my young rem. Mebanus royalty, and a new class I had. It's immediately Hassa, Moana number be frame me. Say, Mebani, a Suleiman, a Mariam Suleiman, Nam say I, Mebano, no, say any, or inside the web Piranam, say, Baya, Memusa, Mebano, line, no, their friend. A WhatsApp lie, no, say any, or best name, or send a Mebani Pepper, Mebani Castle, see the 2 bonny team. Do what me and Oshe, or inside the hall. I'm the 2 bonny team. I'm the 2 Babana Casa bonny team to inside the hall. Mamma Surawa, Namako Family Bar, Musa, that woman Mingura, the part of Nipa Bebre, the Nipa now, the son was Nipa Bebre,
no me ba ni video wa wo pa me video ni nyina achiro me ba ne kasa kire say akura ne kasa nyina wo su akura ne kasa nyina wo su akura ni video wa phone me nya ntro mo bua akura ni bi da wa nom anya siro so mo fa mo ko ye di to ba akura tirim adai mo ma mi wura school mo ko fa me ba.
We took it lightly until we saw it on social media. It wasn't easy. Some of them were lying on the floor. Some of them were lying on the floor, and some have been taken to hospital. And we rushed here. We wanted to see them, and they said no, they wouldn't let us see them. Why? Because they have no reason. And some of them are injured. Once they are inside, they have not been taken to hospital. And what they told us that they are in safe hands. Meanwhile, they also said that the news that we heard and what we saw in the media is not true. Meanwhile, we saw it in the media. And we have issue with the police because of their crowd control. They want us to trust the police being protected. They want us to trust the police that they are protecting the students. Meanwhile, the same police that shoot them is the same police that is protecting them. How can we trust? How can we trust them? Yes, I saw some of them lying on the floor, being taken to hospital. Some of them being taken to hospital. At least I saw 3 ambulances paraded, being taken students to hospital. This is enough evidence that our brothers and sisters here are injured. Yes, this is enough evidence. So we are here. We want to see them. Simple. They should release this, so they would let us see them.
Well, the situation there earlier on campus. Let's speak now to the spokesperson for the Ministry of Education, deputy spokesperson, I should say, Opoku Mensah. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Now, we understand that the ministry has deployed a team there as well to assess the situation on campus. What are your findings so far, initial ones, at least as we await an official report to the minister on this?
Okay, thanks for having me. We're on the ground. I came in the morning to ascertain the happenings on campus. And I can tell you on authority that there is no injured student on campus. Nobody was shot at as declared per the report that the parents are making. That is not true. I don't know where they are getting that information
But the
from.
Ghana Police Service has issued a statement indicating that some students have been hospitalized. We're not sure if indeed they were shot, but we can confirm that they've been hospitalized.
We visited all the health facilities where the students are. And that is why I can tell your authority that nobody has any injury whatsoever as a result of gunshot. And we have a couple of students in the hospitals as well. And before we came back to the school, authorities within that facilities were preparing to release them back to campus. So if parents are listening to me, nobody was shot at. There's nothing like an injured student to those who have been admitted into the various hospitals.
Beyond the shooting, I'm sure that you've been interacting with the management of the school. What's their position on what transpired?
No, what we in the morning, what we sought to do was to calm tempers down when parents were trooping into the school. So with the help of the regional director, the heads of some of the institutional Opoku school headmaster, Okes school headmaster were there to help out. So we spoke to the parents to calm them down. Then we proceeded to visit the health facilities where these students have been admitted. And we've done that. So we come back to the school, and as you rightly reported, the IGP just left the campus to the various hospitals to also visit them. And the staff from the Ministry of Education, headed by the Deputy Minister himself, is also following suit together with the regional minister. So per the assessment on campus now, we have a conducive environment now, and the media can attest to it. As we visited the hospital, we even met some of the parents at the hospital. They were reporting that the report was that their wards have been shot dead. And behold, we went to these facilities and we interacted with all the students who have been admitted.
Right. And I guess this
is as well.
Yeah, I get the concern. You've made that point very clear that no one has been shot dead, but we know that some of them are in the hospitals. Beyond that, the concern about teaching and learning on campus? What's the directive of the GES and by extension the ministry on what should happen in the coming days? Obviously, the students are terrified by what has happened. I'm sure that you're concerned as well about that.
Yes. In the morning, before we left campus to visit those who were hospitalized, teaching and learning was going on before we left. Before I left with the regional director of education, plus the heads, as I mentioned to you earlier. So we left them in the hands of the teachers, and teaching and learning was ongoing as we expected. And when we came back, and I think they are on break now. I'm in the school currently. So we expect that normalcy as it has been restored. We are engaging the students to psych them up, to encourage them to have that confidence and not to harbor any fear in them. So the minister would definitely speak with the student. The regional director in the morning also spoke to the students. She will be doing same today, plus the heads and a couple of officials who are on campus. And I'm told that the IGP also will speak with the students to calm them down. So on campus, everything is normal.
My question is about my question is also about what happens next. You're talking to the students now, but in terms of academic activities, are you expecting that in the next 24 hours you're resuming academic activities?
Yes, definitely. In the morning when we left, even in the middle of the incident, when we came in there to address parents, teaching and learning was ongoing, and nothing has stopped. The administrative staff are in the office working, teachers are in the classroom also teaching, and students are in the class learning as well. So we expect teaching and learning to proceed as expected. But again, we can't also be oblivious of the fact that we need to speak to them. Probably some of them may be traumatized by what happened. And that is as a result of what resulted in so many of them being hospitalized today.
I'm interested in finding out, is this where you bring closure to such a sensitive matter, particularly when it involves the threat to the life of at least 20 students? Are you likely to take some disciplinary actions, if not against the students? There are some teachers, or perhaps the head teacher who is also, and some scrutiny here, isn't it?
It's early days yet. What we needed first to do is to ensure that those who have been hospitalized come back to normalcy and they come back to school to continue the academic work. And so when we are done with all this, we are satisfied with the situation, that is where we can zoom in to look at other issues pertaining to what you are mentioning now. That's for now. What is important to ensure that we have stable conditions of our students, bring them back to campus, then we can look at the other issues and probably bring it closer to it, and whatever can be done to salvage the situation, we do it.
But we know, obviously, that the parents are also out there. Some of them are even asking that you release their students. I mean, their wards, so at least we can have them back with their parents for them to ensure that indeed there's safety on campus. How are you handling such a case, particularly as some parents are anxious, waiting just right behind or in front of the school, I should say, waiting that at least they'll be able to
meet their nobody in front of the school. There is nobody in front of the school. Some of the students, when we came back from the hospital, were already in the school to ascertain or get to see their wards, and rightly, they were satisfied with the situation. It's got to do with the report that came out from the media, especially in relation to people being shot at, people dead, as the speculation went. But when we spoke to them in the morning, they remained calm, and we only got a briefing, or we got to hear that they've trooped into the school to verify whether their children were victims to the situation. And as we entered back, there is absolute peace, there is absolute calm on campus, and there is nobody in front of the school wanting to enter to take his or her child away. That is not the situation on campus as we speak. Everything has been brought under control. The police are still here at the entrance, ensuring that the order is maintained. And as I indicated to you, the IGP and the other police officials have gone to visit the students at the various hospitals. But let me again repeat that nobody was shot at, There is nothing like a casualty of a gunshot wound among the students that were hospitalized. And that is what the situation currently is.
Kane, indicating that what they saw on the grounds at least differs from the account you're giving us now.
I am on the ground. I was here in the morning, and I'm here in the afternoon as well. And I wasn't even alone with the regional director of education and some of the heads that I mentioned, and staff of the school that we visited the various health facilities. We are back on campus as we speak. And I'm giving you a clearer picture on how campus look like and where the students are and what is actually happening on campus. And whilst we are talking, I'm in the head's office, and the head just left with the IGP to visit some of the students in the hospital. So calm has been restored here. There is absolute peace, conducive atmosphere for teaching and learning. And that is what we expect. And as I indicated it to you in the morning, we spoke with the parents, told them what we were doing, following up with the matter as a parent would do. And we came back with a positive news as a result of the earlier speculation about injured students or being shot at, etc. And that is not the case as it's been speculated.
Just hold on for us. Obviously, there's a need for us to hear from the emergency service workers who were on the grounds earlier, telling us their account of what transpired. Listen.
So at now they are receiving treatment at the various hospitals. Okay. Yes. So now we don't have anybody on the ground. We've moved all of them to the hospitals. So all of them are receiving treatment, about 25 of them. But we learned that others were also moved by the school bus, but we don't have that data with us. We don't have that statistics with us. But we're talking about what National Ambulance Service be able to attend to. Yes. What were wrong with these students, the victims that you sent via your? So we met them in the respiratory distress. That is, they had difficulty in breathing. So as a result of some were triggered, they had conditions like asthma and other things. So it was triggered as a result of the atmosphere, the tear gas that was thrown around. So it triggered them, and others also as a result of exhaustion. They just went off, and then they went having difficulty in breathing. And we have to help them, give them oxygen, and then move them to the hospitals. Were there gunshot wounds that you treated? No, we've not treated any traumatic injuries like gunshot wounds. No, we've not met any of such situation. All that we treated were just difficulty in breathing and people who were exhausted and had difficulty in breathing. We didn't have any bloody situation in our hands. How difficult was it for you and your personnel in attending to these patients? Yes, so normally the crowd control. No, the public always want to help, but at the end of the day, the way they were lifting the people who were unconscious, because somebody who is trying to breathe, the best thing is for you to put the person in recovery position and allow the person to be there. Since the person can breathe, okay, you try to put the person in recovery position, but some of them were kept on their spine, and they were lifted here and there, and they were moving them anyhow, and that was the difficulty. So we think that normally they should always allow the professionals to, especially when we are at the scene, they should be assured that we'll do a good job for the.
Well, Opoku, so that's the account of the emergency services workers. It meets your side of the story, what it is that you were telling us earlier.
He has collaborated with the aspect of no gunshot wounds. And again, I haven't had any briefing on the tear gas aspect. Right. And I can't independently verify if there were tear gases which were shot in here. But what I can independently verify was the asthmatic aspect. Right. And people, from the medical outfit, and some of them were brought in as a result of the shock. Yeah, but
is it just about the shock? What exactly were you told about the state of the students? What's happening to them?
All of them. Yeah, all of them are stable. All of them are doing well. And as I indicated, as we visited the learners
but
of the students.
what were you told about by the medical experts?
Well, what we were told is what I'm telling you, that as a result of the shock, others do have certain conditions, that is the asthma that's referred to. So as a result of the atmosphere on campus, that is what made them unconscious, and all of them are back to stable and back to normal as indicated by the
all 25, sir. All 25.
Yes, all of them, and that is how the situation.
But look at the image, for instance, on the screens right now. Someone there suffering in terms of respiration. That could possibly be linked to issues of tear gas, right?
I don't have any evidence to that. I don't have any briefing to that, and I can't speak to it. Whether if there were tear gas which were shot. I've been on campus. I haven't picked any signal on evidence to that, and I can't actually speak to it, whether if they shot tear gas in trying to restore calm on campus. I can't speak to that, sir.
All right then. Opoku definitely will be in touch, get back to you later in the day to find out what it is that the Education Ministry has picked up on that. Let's go to our man on the ground now, Ohim Intevia, who's been following this for us throughout the day. He's actually moving with the IGP's team. We understand that the IGP is headed, visiting some hospital facilities where all these students are being kept. Ohim, what more can you tell us?
Yeah, thank you, my brother. We are currently at the Kumasi Teaching Hospital, the Accident and Emergency Center, where we learned that one of the victims has been referred from the Central Government Hospital. And unfortunately, we don't know the identity of this victim, whether a teacher, a student, or a police officer, because we also learned from the police statement that some police officers were in jail in the process. But before the Kumasi Teaching Hospital, the IGP was at the Central Government Hospital, where we learned that 22 of the students were sent by the National Ambulance Service, and all the 20.
It appears we've lost Ohim Intevia there, but definitely we'll keep our eyes on the story and bring you some updates as and when we have it. You're still with us here on The Pulse. We'll return shortly after this break. Please stay.